Let me give you everything that you ever dreamed of.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I wanted to address a few things in regards to myself and with everything else that's going on as well. Back in May, I put out a couple of videos in a storytime format, basically addressing some sexual misconduct that happened to me while filming a TV show. I never expected for those videos to pick up the way they did. I never expected to get justice, and I never expected any of this to happen. So I was like extremely surprised when my videos blew up and sorry, it's a train. Okay, so I was like really surprised when the videos did the numbers that they did. I was also really surprised at the amount of support I was getting. I expected hate. Whether 1,000 people saw the video or 500,000 people saw the video, I expected hate. I knew that this person had an excellent way of coming off as just this saint, and I knew that it was definitely going to be challenging to get people to understand that the way this person portrays himself to be on camera is nothing like the way the person is in reality. None of this was going on before I pressed record. So I've always been the type of person that is very dependent on other people. I allowed that to kind of take over the situation, and I mean that by saying I was advised not to really speak to anyone. By me not speaking to anyone, we were idle for so long, they resumed production. I know I told you guys how no one reached out to me from Critical Content. They actually sent someone that actually works with the team to basically give me the number of the person that was in charge of my case. That was pretty much that. I got 3 messages. Those are the only messages that I received. Anything else was, I never got anything from Critical Content or anything like that. But I didn't talk to anyone. I was advised not to, and I was very anxious like the whole time. I was like, I did this not thinking I was gonna have a voice, and now that I have a voice, I can't talk. Like, I was really confused, but I'd never been in this situation before. So when someone's telling me just wait, just wait, just wait, I'm going to listen, especially since I didn't feel like I had much of a voice outside of the situation either, because I was always so dependent and allowing other people to make decisions for me. Not talking was probably one of the biggest things that I regret ever, because they resumed production. And I'm gonna say this, I feel like it was a very poor effort on their part to attempt to talk to me. I feel like they handled it horribly. I don't feel like they ever intended on talking to me or even making anything of it. What do you investigate? How do you investigate something and mark something off as not credible if you have not talked to the source? You are basing it off of 2 poorly formatted storytime videos. My way of dealing with this was to tell a story. that was my way of dealing with it, because I was like, this is the only way I'm going to be able to have a voice. And I was wrong. I was very wrong. It didn't become bigger than me until I'm getting other women reaching out to me telling me that similar situations happened to them and they were threatened, just so many different things. That's when it became bigger than me, and that's when I was like, wow, like these other women went through the same thing. There was one girl in particular, she touched me. She's like such a sweet girl. What happened to her was never okay. She was sexually harassed by he made some really disgusting comments to her. It was just horrible. Like, listening to her story, it was just so horrible, because I know what that feels like. Just hearing like everyone talking about their experiences and things like that. I actually had someone disguised as a victim DM me to try to get myself and the other women, because they're still anonymous. They tried to get myself and the other women on a group Skype call. I'm smarter than that, and I know that they were sent by the team. So basically, the person writes me, right? And they're like, oh, I'm a victim too. I'm one of the production assistants, da 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 da. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, hell yeah, like, you know, this is bigger than all of us. This is about something like bigger now. Like, I'm going to make sure that everyone's story gets told. Like, let's do this. She's like, has Critical Content reached out to you yet? The only person that would really like be like in it enough to know who the third-party investigator was would be somebody that works for them currently, not a victim. I don't care if you were a PA way the messages were worded, and it was just mind-boggling to me how they tried to manipulate the situation. I just felt like, wow, that's very shady. So moving on, I had a lot of mixed opinions. I had people who were like, oh, you're a fucking liar, he's a saint, he would never do anything like this, you just want clout. I don't want clout. Who's going to put out a video about someone who acts like they're a saint on TV and think, oh, I'm gonna get all this great support? No, I knew you guys were gonna right. I knew you guys were gonna, you know, not believe me. I knew you guys were gonna be all for this person that you guys don't know. Like, I don't want clout. I hate that word, by the way, but I don't want clout. I don't need clout. I never needed clout. If I wanted to capitalize off of this, I would have been posting videos back to back. I left social media. I don't want clout, never needed clout. I could care less, you know, about the hate or anything like that. People are gonna have their opinions, like I said. I'm not gonna take that away from you. I don't really have much to say on that, but what I do have to say is I definitely regret not talking. It makes me want to fight that much harder. And for myself, I've never fought for anything before, and what happened to me will never be okay. I'm going to fight until my last day standing, until I get justice on this. I was assaulted, I was raped, I was harassed by the people who were supposed to be taking care of me and helping me. People are asking me like, oh, well, why didn't you say something sooner? Why did you wait? Blah, blah, blah. Okay, let me address that. So this happened in 2015, and I told everyone that was, you know, the camera crew. I told everyone. We were at the airport. I told, you know, everyone that was there at the time. Nobody listened, so if they're not listening, if I mean, they said they're not surprised, and they were all joking about it because they were like, oh, nobody likes him, blah, blah, blah. But they didn't really, you know. In 2017, so this was a year ago, I was on Facebook and I had made a post about someone that I knew who conned their way to get onto the show. I was basically saying like, that's fake, like, that's fake. One of the producers, I had her on Facebook, and she wrote me and she was just like, hey, like, you can't post things like that and blah, blah, blah. And I like went off, and I didn't go off on her because of that. I went off on her because I had so much bottled up, and I blocked her on Facebook, and she ended up emailing me from her Verizon number, and I'm gonna put the emails here right now. So her name is Jill, and she is one of the producers on the show. I told her what happened, and nothing. After that email, I ended up unblocking her and adding her back, and I had wrote her, and I was like, hey, can I ask you one more question? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, am I wasting my time going up against sharks? And because I knew, my whole thought process was, you know, I'm sure they have these like shark lawyers, and no one's gonna like hear me out, and they didn't hear me out when I first said anything. You're not really giving a shit. You said you're not gonna say anything. It just seemed like everyone that works for them was afraid of something, or I don't know, it just seemed that way. And so I remember her, I don't know if she responded or not. If I can find the message, I don't know if my Facebook is long gone, but if I can find it, I'm definitely gonna put it in here. Conversations like this of me trying to say something a year ago just furthermore frustrates the fact that Critical Content did none of this investigating. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did none of this. I did not put much into my videos. I didn't put much receipts into my video. I didn't want to have the receipts just out there. I was just gonna, you know, keep it private and just, you know, for them. And I just feel like they didn't care about what I had to say, because to them, I'm just, oh, another girl, and I'm not credible. And I just feel like that's like, I would never bring a whole bunch of hate to myself or to my world, or I look like a glazed donut. I would never bring like a whole bunch of like hate to myself or anything like that for nothing. I'm just not that type of person, and I'll never be that type of person. and I would never lie about something like this because that's disgusting. Okay, so at this time I'm going to upload some photos, and these photos were taken in the hotel room, and as you can see, well, you'll be able to see in one of the photos, you see turn his back because he was leaving out of the room. Once he left out of the room, he came up behind me and he got a little more touchy-feely with the photos, and just take a look for yourself. This happened just before he tried to get me to do sexual favors. If I don't fight for this, then I better not ever fight for, like, I'm fighting for anything else. Like, this is something that is extremely important to me because this involves my body, me as a woman, me as a person, my self-respect, my dignity, everything all tied into one. This includes all of that. And if I don't fight for that, I don't think I'll ever be able to, like, look at myself. I have to fight for this. I have to. I'm not gonna stop fighting ever until something is done. I'm going to fight for myself, for the other girls involved that are too afraid, the ones who feel like, you know, they're just so afraid to be bashed. I'm fighting for every woman who's ever had a situation like this happen and nothing has happened. Fighting for every person who's never got justice for anything a day in their life. It's really twisted to me that they can not fully investigate, resume production, say I'm not credible when they never talked to me before, say, oh, it's over, and it's not over. I have a case still open in regards to this. For them to completely do everything in their power to sweep it under the rug, just like they swept under the rug when beat the crap out of a girl. And I'll put the article here. This is never going to be swept under the rug as long as I'm living. It's not going to be swept under the rug, and I have to fight, because if I don't stand for this, then I'm going to fall for anything, and that can't happen. I'm so grateful for me realizing how strong I can be and that I'm a force by myself and I don't need to depend on anyone. With that being said, you guys, I'm sorry, but it's not over. It's just the beginning. Thank you for all of you who stuck by me. Even when I was, you know, down and out, I wasn't posting any videos. It seemed like I gave up. And I know a lot of women were like, well, she's supposed to be fighting for, you know, this, like, what's going on? She's not fighting, so how are we gonna believe her? She's not fighting. And I totally get that, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, I am sorry. But yeah, guys, that wraps this up. I'm not gonna say like, oh, like, comment, and subscribe. All I have to say is just share this video, and I just want you guys to know that it is not over.